If by some miracle I managed to get this video out in a reasonable window of time, then The Naked Gun may still be playing in theaters. I saw it opening weekend, and one of my main takeaways was actually not even about the movie. Watching The Naked Gun with a surprisingly engaged audience made me realize just how awesome it would be to see a new Muppet movie in theaters. To be clear, The Naked Gun and The Muppets are noticeably different franchises, but while they are different, the Muppets specialize in a similar sort of deadpan humor, a humor I feel could and would delight audiences all across the world. Well, maybe not all across the world, but we'll get to that later. However, by some cruel twist of fate, more than a decade has passed since these icons of popular culture last graced the silver screen, and gosh dang it, I want my silly little friends back. But this isn't just about me. More than my own personal desires, I feel like the time is right to bring these lads back. I feel like, if made today, a new Muppet movie would make money, find public embrace, and offer refreshing creative potential. Starting with money, because this is probably the biggest hurdle to getting a new Muppet movie made, we aren't in the 2010s anymore. While it has never been publicly stated why Disney canceled production on future Muppet movies, my best guess would be because the Muppets don't make Marvel money. Notably, Muppets Most Wanted underperformed financially compared to its predecessor, making $90 million less, but it wasn't a giant failure. It's the type of thing where, under normal circumstances, a studio would probably look at what people liked about the previous movie compared to what they didn't about the latest. This is what Disney is doing right now with Marvel. But in 2014, Marvel had something the Muppets didn't. The same year Most Wanted made $80 million, Captain America the Winter Soldier made over $700 million, and Guardians of the Galaxy made almost $800 million. 2 years earlier, the Avengers made $1.5 billion. Even if Disney was able to recapture the success of 2011's The Muppets, it would still only make one-fifth of what Guardians of the Galaxy did. Not to mention, Disney had just bought Star Wars, and they were about to release The Force Awakens, which would go on to make more than $2 billion. Why spend $50 million on a mildly profitable franchise when you can spend $200 million on a movie that makes billions? This is assuming those movies will continue to make billions. Marvel movies, and franchises in general, aren't the solid gold they once were. Even some of the biggest movies, like Fast X in 2023, cost more money than they make. There are a lot of reasons for this, and I don't really have the time to go into them, but if you want to know more, you should watch Patrick H. Williams' video, What's Next After Superhero Movies. My point is, something like Thunderbolts Asterix, a Marvel movie with good reviews, can cost $180 million and not even make $400 million, and something like Star Wars can, well, we'll see once The Mandalorian and Grogu releases, because it will be the first movie they've released this decade. This is where I would like to bring back The Naked Gun once more, because while it isn't doing particularly well financially, I could have seen it doing a lot worse. As I'm writing this, it has made $57 million worldwide on a budget of $42 million, which is kind of disappointing because the movie is really funny and I want more movie studios to release stuff like it, but I think this still bodes well for a new Muppet movie. If Disney were to greenlight a Muppet movie right now, it would probably have a similar budget to The Naked Gun, but so long as the movie is anywhere near as good as 2025's The Naked Gun, this hypothetical, theoretical new Muppet movie would probably make more money because 1. The Muppets are more recognizable than The Naked Gun, and 2. The Muppets appeal to a wider audience. The second point, I mean both in a the Muppets are more family-friendly than The Naked Gun way, and in a people of all ages are familiar with and have some sort of connection to the Muppets kind of way. I know Disney still wants Marvel to keep trying to make money, but if they took the budget they gave to Captain America: A Brave New World, which was reportedly $180 million, and instead made four $45 million Muppet movies, as long as these movies each make between $100 and $150 million, Disney would be making a combined total of $400 to $600 million, and this is without even acknowledging merchandise sales. However, this is assuming each of these movies can at least crack $100 million, which assumes people would even want to watch a new Muppet movie. I've already discussed how The Naked Gun is unfortunately underperforming, but again, the Muppets have a wider audience. Still, their last movie made $80 million, so why do I think a new one would make more? Because Wonka. Alongside people moving away from previously dominating franchises like Marvel, Harry Potter, or Transformers, people are moving toward fun movies. The biggest Marvel movies of this decade aren't the ones building a larger story. They're the ones where characters the audience already likes team up and have fun. Movies like Deadpool and Wolverine and Spider-Man No Way Home aren't setups for the next phase of the MCU, they're just fun crossovers. I think part of why this latest Superman movie is succeeding is because 1. Superman is a recognizable character, and 2. The movie is mostly concerned with being fun and hopeful. But back to Wonka. I think Wonka is the closest example we have to figure out if a new Muppet movie will do well because it shares a lot of DNA with the Muppets. Like the Muppets, Wonka is an extension of a recognizable, beloved brand, but not one we've seen on the big screen recently. Also, like the Muppets, Wonka is primarily a comedy, with specifically a mix of slapstick and deadpan humor, though it has a lot of heart and sincerity to it. Both Wonka and the Muppets are musicals, both are appropriate for kids, yet compelling and entertaining for adults, both are usually under 2 hours long, and both are stories about dreamers and feature grouchy side characters. Taking a look at Wonka's box office, it made just over $570 million worldwide, but I'm more interested in the domestic number because Muppet movies have never performed particularly well overseas. While Wonka made more than half of its money overseas, North America contributed just over $200 million to its box office, which is a little bit above the $100 million I decided a new Muppet movie would probably need to bring in to be worth making. Does this mean if Disney were to make a new Muppet movie, it would totally definitely make more than $100 million? Unfortunately, no. There are a lot of factors to a hypothetical new Muppet movie we simply do not know and therefore cannot take into account, like the presence of Timothy Chalamet. At the very least, I think Wonka being a success is a sign of people's interest in the type of thing a new Muppet movie would be, and I think a good portion of the movie-going public is interested in the type of optimism the Muppets specialize in. And, if you want to make sure it's a hit, just get Paul King to write and direct it. Look, there's been a lot of money talk here, because for some odd reason I feel like Disney would only make a new Muppet movie if they thought it could make money. But more than money, I feel like the Muppets should be back on the big screen because they have a ton of creative potential. Simply put, these guys are not like any franchise out there. Unlike Marvel, Star Wars, Transformers, etc., the Muppets don't have any sort of multi-film narrative. A new Muppet movie can look like whatever it wants to look like. It can be an adaptation of a classic story, like a Muppet version of Pride and Prejudice or a Muppet version of Macbeth, or it could be an adaptation of a popular franchise, like a Muppet Avengers or a Muppet Star Wars. The Muppets could also, say, find themselves at the center of a Benoit Blanc mystery once Rian Johnson's contract is up with Netflix. This is to say nothing of their potential for original stories. They can make a parody prestige biopic about the Electric Mayhem, a political thriller about Sam the Eagle, a courtroom drama where Kermit's lawyer is Fozzie Bear, and so much more. I mean, if this is what I can come up with, I can only imagine what a talented writer would think of. Now, as with any franchise, the Muppets have limitations, but they have very different limitations compared to something like Marvel or Star Wars. The best Muppet movies tend to be comedic, but they are also very optimistic and sincere. This can vary, as something like The Great Muppet Caper is primarily comedic, while The Muppets Christmas Carol is mostly sincere with comedic moments, but most successful Muppet movies have a fairly even combination of both, like the original 1979 The Muppet Movie. These movies are usually musicals, ideally family-friendly, often a parody of a specific genre, and their sense of humor tends to be a combination of meta, slapstick, wit, and reference, which can also be meta, but isn't always. Still, unlike most franchises, the Muppets don't have any lore, any specific main character. Kermit is usually the main character, but something like The Muppets Christmas Carol or The Muppets 2011 has him as more of a side character, and they don't have a specific formula to follow. The Muppets have their limits, but where they have freedom tends to be where most franchises don't. Look, who knows when, if, how, or where a new Muppet movie will release. According to the Diz Insider, there is one currently in the works, but those guys seem to be about as reliable as It Happened in My Dream, so I wouldn't hold my breath. Whatever the case, I hope I don't have to wait another decade before these legends return, because the Muppets might just be exactly what society needs right now.